Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to get going on closing in the transmission tunnel and then probably move on to the rear firewall. We got the shifter all squared away in the car. I've just got to add the linkage on it and then start taking some measurements, add some flanges in some certain areas to make sure that it's actually going to be able to be removable, because I want this whole transmission tunnel, both sides of it, removable. It'll make it so if I have to adjust the shift linkage, it's way easier done. I don't have to do it from underneath. I can pop the panel off the side and be really easy to work with. So I'm gonna get going on that and we'll show you the progress. Alrighty, so I started putting these linkages on and realized really quick that my old ones are a little too long. So I'm gonna measure these up and then I'll chuck them in the lathe. We'll turn them down and see if I can get these to fit. Definitely looks like there might be a little interference issue going on here with the reverse and stuff because of the angle of this, but we'll find out. I know I should be cutting this at higher speed because it's aluminum, but I don't want to hear it from any of you machinist guys out there. And just like that, we've got 3 shortened tubes. Now I'll throw the Heims back in this. I'm probably going to get some new Heim joints for some of these, because one thing I didn't notice when I built the Caddy, these don't have any sort of, they're not impregnated with anything. If you look at these have like a Teflon or some sort of impregnation to them, so they build the Heim and then impregnate them, and they're way tighter. So those, I will like those a lot better. They're also like billet versus stamped, so I'll probably get some more of those. So my shift linkage is on. I've got it all adjusted, so I'm gonna bolt the shifter on now and run it through the gears and make sure that the shifter is gonna work properly, make sure that everything feels good. Obviously motor's not hooked up, so I can't really row it through the gears, but I'll spin the tail shaft and make sure it goes into everything, make sure nothing's contacting. So hopefully everything works the way it should. All right, so obviously that shifter handle isn't staying, but the shifter seems to run through all the gears just fine. All the linkage seems all right, so tomorrow we're gonna start closing in the tunnel. It's definitely gonna be a tricky one to do, but I think we can make it happen. So, yeah. All right, so we're back. First thing I'm gonna do is peel all the tape off of this and grab the grinder and just clean up all the sharp edges. Everything's nice and smooth, and I actually make sure there's no like weird bumps or anything in it to mess up my construction paper that I'm gonna be using to mock up a template for my tunnel. All right, so now that all this is cleaned up, now I gotta go under, I gotta support the transmission so I can get my plates out, so I can figure out how all of this in this area is gonna work, because obviously that plate there is right in the way. The other thing I gotta keep in mind is these rails go back, so I need to make sure that both the reverse rail, which is right here, and the 3/4 rail which is this one here, can go back far enough. So that tunnel has to stick out at least that far back in here. So it's definitely going to be tough because this flange here that the factory tunnel bolts through the floor or welds to the floor, that flange doesn't really stick out far enough to be able to clear this. So I've got to make a new flange to come out and then out past that. What I'm trying to do here is I've got this square and I'm just trying to get a rough idea as to how far out this tunnel needs to be. So I think we've got to be somewhere in this neighborhood here. So now I can take because right in this area, I don't want the tunnel to stick out as much because of the seat rail and everything. So we're going to make this tunnel be pretty much as tight to the shifter as possible, because again, it's going to be removable. We'll make it nice and easily removable. So we can at least do this, get an idea as to where we got to go, build cut out a flat piece of construction paper for the top of it. And I'll just essentially cut out a flat piece from all the way there, and then we'll cut the hole for the shifter. So definitely going to be tricky, and I got to use my thinking cap. So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. All right, so I've got the top kind of mocked out. I haven't knocked that out yet because I didn't really need to right yet, but I've got the top on this side kind of mocked up and just overlaid on that side. I'll cut that side to where I want it. But I went and kind of made a flange for that as well, so I can bolt the tunnel plate to it. If I draw a straight line from here up to that, it looks like I should be able to use most of this as a flange, so that'll be super nice. I still got to tie into the front up here, so that's going to be a little tricky by the way it looks, but I think we can make it all happen. And then once we get back here, I'm going to have to make a flange for the bottom, so all of this lines up. But yeah, so onward to, I think, doing the bottom plate, the bottom piece now. Either that or I'm going to start tying in the front, one or the other. But regardless, we'll make it happen. So I've got my flange pretty much figured out for the bottom here. That's kind of how it's going to look. I've got obviously to tape that piece on, but yeah, I think that'll work pretty well. This is going to get trimmed just a touch down in here to line up with this, and then I'll put one more bend on the end, sit flat on that, so when I bolt the tunnel on, it'll have a place to seal. But that's pretty much the way the tunnel is going to look on this side. So it's got a flange, top, bottom, and on the side. So all I'm going to end up doing here is I'll probably cut straight down there across the bottom. That way this whole piece gets lowered. That way that flange is the same height. Give me a little more access because I can't get to that hole very easily. But at least we have the tunnel shape. So next thing, I'll cut that lip, and then I'll cut this flange out of sheet metal and tack it all together and get it in place. And then I can actually do the top as well. And then we can do the side out of sheet metal. Once everything's kind of in place, dealing with the cardboard or poster board or whatever, it makes it a little tough because it does have a lot of movement here. I mean, that's not sturdy, but it gives me a rough shape. So once I get the two flanges made up, then I can then I can go in with poster board and make a template for the whole side of the transmission tunnel. So yeah, that's what we're gonna work on. So I changed up my game plan a little bit. I decided to cut it right down to the floor, and what this will allow me to do is actually take this piece here once I get it all fabbed up and essentially rivet it right to the floor. I can rivet it here and here, kind of all the way around, because this is fiberglass, and it also just, it looks a lot cleaner, and I can butt weld that right to that and have one flat piece. So that'll look a lot nicer. It should work better. And I'll just obviously just squirt some seam sealer in between here when I put it on the floor. So now I just got to get rid of, grind all this body panel bond off, and then I can make that piece. I haven't showed you guys yet, but one way that I draw stuff up for my plasma table is I actually scan it in my regular scanner. So I've got my little template here that we just cut up and made sure it fit. And what we're gonna do is I got all my lines, all the edges marked out, just used Sharpie and marked them so it shows up nice and easy on the scanner. I'm gonna throw this in the scanner, we're gonna scan it, and then I'm gonna trace it. So I'll show you. So I'm just gonna toss this in. Ooh, it's just barely long enough. Hopefully it'll actually scan. We'll probably put it in an angle to make sure that it does scan all the way. And then literally just come in, hit my scanner, documents. I always put everything in as a grayscale with my scanner. So I'm assuming it's completely up to you guys. Once we scan it, just check and make sure everything is there. And it looks like it's scanned good, so that's sweet. So I use Inkscape. There's obviously much better programs out there. This one's free, it's simple. I'm not the smartest with computers and CAD drawing, so Inkscape is definitely the easiest thing for me to use. So just go ahead and import, and then I'll import that drawing. Scan documents. So once that is done, rotate it, and then we'll get it flat. Oops. And then what I do is just literally go ahead and draw, connect the dots. So I'll adjust this after I get it roughed out, but so once I cleaned it up, now if I click that and delete it, now it looks like my piece that we scanned. What I found with the scanner, as long as it's scanned in, it comes up and the sizing's correct, so it makes it very easy to do it that way. Alright, so got this tunnel piece, the flange all fabbed up, bent, welded together. So that fits right in there like that. So that'll work really well. I'm gonna just do one strip right up here, right up over here, and then the tunnel will bolt to that flange, or at least seal to it. I'll probably do a flange that goes like that and then bends, so it'll match this essentially, so I can bolt straight into it, but we'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and Cleco that in place now, and then I can get a better idea as to where to go from there. All right, so I'm at the point where I kind of need to have a top plate cut out. So I'm gonna go over to the other side, mock up the other side, because I think that panel's is gonna be pretty easy to make. From what I'm seeing, it's just gonna pretty much be a flat panel. I'll have to weld a couple flanges to the car, but for the most part, it should just be, I'll have that dip in there, but Well, from what I'm seeing, it'll pretty much just replace a factory tranny tunnel. So, all right, so got a flange on the top of this. Got the top of this cut out kind of how I wanted, I think. And then it's going to be a little tricky getting this bend. So what I think I'm going to have to do is do multiple bends that lead to one point up here, and just to get this bent the way I want it. I'm hoping anyway. We'll see when we get there. Good thing is I'm cutting it out of 20 gauge steel, so it should be very easy to form. At least that's what I'm hoping for. We'll see. Alrighty, so chop of the tranny tunnel's cut out. I've got it clecoed in place. Everything looks to line up pretty much the way I wanted it. I've got to do like a little bit of trimming, like I got to round this corner off and bend this ear over, but everything looks pretty good. I'm pretty stoked with it. So I'm gonna get that bent up, get this side panel here bent up, the flange rather, so I can then start building the sides. Alrighty, so I got that flange welded on. I'm gonna have to clean those spots up there, or just leave them. It doesn't really matter. It's pretty much going to be hidden. Everything lined up pretty decent. I just tapped this over. This will get welded here, and then I've got to make a flange there, make a flange there, and then I'll have a dimensions of the side piece of the tunnel, so I can get that cut out and start making sure that it fits. So pretty stoked. It's looking pretty good. Not bad at all. Fits decent. It's nice and tight, so it kind of snapped into place. So I'm hyped. Alrighty, so I got the top of the tunnel all tacked in. It dipped down up there in the front, so I just slit both sides and then just pulled that down with some clecos and then just tacked it in. I've got two flange right there, and then I've got a flange right here. And then I can build a tunnel. The side of the tunnel. I got to do the same on the other side. The other side's going to be tricky because I can't just do that bump out without bending the top. So I got to figure that one out, but I will. It shouldn't be too big of an issue. But so I'm going to flange right here and there, and then we'll mock up this side of the tunnel. Alrighty, so all the flanges are done. Time to make the side panel. I'm going to take some more poster board and make a template. I don't think this bend and that bend line up perfectly, so it's gonna have to be like a diagonal bend, but that's all right. So time to grab some poster board and make a template. All right, so I got my side panel cut out. I got it marked for the bead roll that I'm gonna do through the center, and then once we do that, I'll mark it for the bends, and we'll bend it in the break. Alright, so I went and took a piece of just some 45,000 stick wire and put my bends in it. So now, as I'm bending this, I can make sure that my bends are going to be the right angle. Alrighty, so I got a couple of clecos holding it in, and it looks like the only thing I got to do is just bend this over a little bit and then trim the top flange. But it fits in there pretty dang good. Definitely happy with it. I think everything will fit nicely, so stoked. Alright, so bead rolled. It is clecoed in place. The seams look pretty good. Obviously, I'm going to put some sort of seal around there. I haven't figured out what I'm doing exactly. Yeah, I just used some foam tape on the caddy, but it's not really flame retardant, so I really should do something that's fire retardant in this car. That way it's completely sealed. I also thinking about using Zeus buttons on that, so you just literally quarter turn and then that pops out, but we'll see on that. But for right now, it's Clecoat in place. It looks good. Pretty happy with it, other than that one dip in my bead roll. So yeah, we're gonna call it. But I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, please like, share, subscribe. See you on the next one.